Bill Simmons is with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I just wanted to come in and touch base with everybody today to let you know that we're going to have an open house for our new station. You know, people keep asking me, when can I go through the station? Well, this Saturday from 10 to 2, during the homecoming parade and after. So from 10 to 2, we'll be wide open for people to come and visit.
Wow, that's a great timing, too. You're going to have crowds all over Indiana, and I know folks want to see that place.
Yes, and of course the place is all shined up, so we'll have a big fire to get everything dirty before before Saturday. That's the way it works.
Well, if it's a fire here in Indiana border, you're going to have fire trucks from all over the place here, so you ought to be good.
Well, that's right. And each homecoming, we do surround the parade with fire trucks, just in case there is a call. But then we'll be back. But again, the station will be open from 10 to 2. We're also just kicking off our fund drive now for this year. And we certainly have been very fortunate in the past that the community has been very supportive of us for our fund drive. And we also have a fundraiser in the new clock that we just installed at the corner of 5th and Philly. That is another thing that we'd be glad to talk to people about. Everybody so far that's come to me said it's a nice addition to the corner.
Yeah.
Not only helps there, but it just kind of decks out the whole downtown.
Okay, so let's start with the fundraiser itself. What's going on with the fundraiser? How can people give?
Yes, we sent out our letters last week, as we do on an annual basis. That's our only means of fundraising. So sometimes you might get a phone call. And unfortunately, there are scam artists out there, but ours is just the letter that we sent out last week. We protect everybody under the zip code of 15701. So I'm sure if you live in that area, you got our letter. We again appreciate your support, and donations can be sent in to our 1555 Indian Springs Road or 501 Philadelphia Street, and there's an enclosed envelope there.
And that's an important thing that you just pointed out. The only way that you raise money is through this letter. If they get a phone call, ignore that.
That's exactly right, and that happens every year. It's so unfortunate that people fall into that. But yes, we just have the fund drive letter, and again, that's what keeps us up and running. Being a volunteer organization, we want to keep it that way. But volunteerism is a little bit trickier today than it's been in the past. People are busy. They don't maybe live right around here any longer. And it's hard to volunteer. But we certainly encourage people that if they're interested at all to come and see us about volunteering, because that's a big part of it too.
Absolutely. And a part of that is the fact that it is such a broader field now. Volunteering requires some pretty intensive training.
Yes, that's true. I know when I got in the late 70s, we had 40 hours of fire training, and then we were off and running. And to be honest with you, you really learn on the fire ground. That 40 hours has turned into 200 hours. Mm-hmm. And that's hard to ask somebody to do that, to spend 200 hours of training. But, of course, it's worthwhile in the long run. What we've done, though, is we've tied in with IUP. And we have 15 of our 70 members that are IUP students, and all we ask is that they be members of their hometown fire company. That way they've already come trained. Of those 15, we have the ability to house 6 for free at our West Station. And so that's a big deal for families that when they can save about $3,700 a semester by having their son or daughter live out there, that's a big deal. And it's asking a lot because they do respond and take care of business.
And that was them on the truck that went by the station this morning.
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and they're good at that. I'll tell you, one example is we had a fire in an apartment back behind Rustic Lodge a few years ago. And because we had people living right there at the station, they were able to get there quickly. And they actually pulled a guy out of bed and saved his life.
Yeah.
And that's hard for people to do when they're coming from their home, but when they're coming from the station, that's a big deal.
Yeah, to have them there is just it's a major thing for the Indiana Fire Association. So the other fundraiser you mentioned was the clock. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we, whenever we opened up our West Station, we were able to have a brick campaign, and that's still ongoing. We have about 1,400 bricks out there where people that donate $100 or more, we give them a brick and it's permanent. Mm-hmm. So when we built the station downtown, we didn't have the room for that type of a extra type, way of raising money. So we came up with this clock idea where if somebody contributes $500 or more, their name will be recognized on the clock itself. And we have room for 100 different names, and I sent letters to all of our businesses in the community, mm-hmm. And so far we have 50 names, 50 that have contributed. So we still have room for another 50 donations, and we certainly would welcome and appreciate anybody that might be interested in that type of a contribution too.
Bill Simmons is with us. The Indiana Fire Association has those two big fundraisers going on right now, and that's creative to come up with something like that, and we applaud you for that. When folks show up for the open house on Saturday, you folks have been in the new fire station for a few months now,
mm-hmm. Yes.
And so you know what's going on there and what the new amenities are. What are some of the things that they're going to see down there that maybe they didn't expect to see?
Well, one thing is it gets us out front and center on Philadelphia Street, so the response has worked very well. There was some worry about getting out onto Philadelphia Street when we're responding, but you'll see our trucks are right there and able to get on Philadelphia Street. So you'll see our trucks, and we have a real nice gear room for all of our bunker gear. And what you're going to see too is what we call the association room, where it has a pool table and it has a TV and everything, and it's a real nice place for guys and gals to hang out. And then upstairs we have what we call like a stay-in program. So at the West Station we have a live-in program where we have students that actually live there. But downtown we have what's called a stay-in program where regular members can stay when the weather's not, when we have snow and that type of thing, because we didn't have that space available to us when we were in the borough building. So mm-hmm. It's nice to get back to having people stay. So they'll see the upstairs. And then down on the lower level, we have our regular meeting room. Like tonight, we have our regular meeting. We have a conference room down there. And in the back, we have parking for 22 cars. So that completes the whole thing. That's
tremendous.
Yeah.
For folks who aren't aware of just how wonderful the people that you work with in the Indiana Fire Association are, I know that you're very, very proud of how much work is given, how much service is given by these folks, men and women who work with the Indiana Fire Association. Give us an idea of how many people there are who volunteer their time.
Normally, we try to keep around 70 members, of which, again, as I mentioned, 15 of them would be students. We're down a little bit from that, but that's the number we like to keep. And volunteerism is so important from a tax standpoint. To give you an idea, our organization can each year can really survive well on about $800,000 a year, volunteers. There are communities in Pennsylvania that have the same population as we have that have a paid fire company. Their payroll's $3.5 million, and their budget's around $6 million. So you can see the difference, and that's why to ask people to do this for free is a big deal these days, but boy, does it save us a lot of money in the community.
Yeah, and in terms of materials, maintaining one piece of fire equipment, those big trucks, they all take maintenance. What is worn by the typical firefighter at a typical fire call, if people would see the expense just in that, in suiting up, they would be amazed, wouldn't they?
Well, they would be. And, we were able to enjoy a grant that 5 fire companies in Indiana County were included in that was called a SAFER grant, and it was for recruitment and retention, but it allowed us to suit people properly. We spent money on some length of service award programs for people whenever they put in so many years and retire. But you're right, bunker gear alone can really run into a lot of thousands of dollars. And, to buy a pumper today for $600,000 and an aerial for $1 million, that takes a lot to do that. Now, granted, they last a long time. We go to about 650 calls a year, so our stuff is used.
Yeah.
And to have apparatus in both buildings, we've got the community surrounded pretty well. for safety purposes, but it doesn't come cheap.
Absolutely not. All right, 10 to 2 Saturday, the open house.
Yes, please come. Oh, and we're having free hot dogs.
Oh, there you go.
So,
There you go. Don't forget that part.
yeah, the most best part.
And for those who did not get the fundraising letter, what do they need to do?
If you come on Saturday, we're going to have more letters there. We'll have more information about the clock, or give us a call, or hit our website. Indianafire.com. We're all getting online, so that's a good thing too. But please, we certainly appreciate your support, and we'd be glad to contact you at any time.
Bill, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. He's Bill Simmons, Indiana Fire Association, one of our amazing network of fire companies all across Indiana County, and they really do just such a tremendous job of keeping us safe, and we appreciate them so much.